we have a community in which there's significant members of both the RISD community, people who come to teach at RISD, people who have come and graduated from the place, building a significant arts and design kind of community that is just part, deep in the fabric of Rhode Island. So for me, RISD was integral because it was this fabulous working environment and a place to play and research and test ideas. So in that way, I think it's my own experience, while it's is not singular, right? I think our students get that same sense of their own development as designers and their own development of their visions. And I think the cumulative impact of all of those different scales of empowerment on students and faculty is integral to, well, I would argue, is integral to kind of what Providence is about. We're not the only people with vision here, but that there are a lot of people with vision here, that there is a great music scene, that there are people who are thinking about the creative economy in deep ways, and from lots of different perspectives. I think all is part of what shapes the daily life of the place. I think that the significant problems of our day, the most wicked problems, whether they are environmental, economic, health, require interdisciplinary teams, because they are so complex, require Renaissance teams to be able to start to actually examine them and create solutions that will be workable. So for me, the interdisciplinary education is critical, not only as a pedagogical device, but because I think that professions need to be transformed. And to do that, students, young designers, need to have enough experience in how to do a base amount of research, be able to manage themselves and other people in teams of diverse participants, and still do the thing that they do well: make really beautiful shit. If I talk about the necessity of interdisciplinary training, I think that it is founded in and relies upon powerful disciplinary work. Right? Students need to be good at something, and every design discipline and every fine arts discipline that we have here has its own processes, its own rigorous methodologies, its own history, and its own media culture that it is immersed in. Culture in the sense of the petri dish as much as the social thing. And that's really vital, because each of those methodologies, each of those processes bring a different lens to looking at the kinds of problems that I think need to be looked at. But without them, students will not have the rigor, students won't have the authority or the ability to then say, okay, I've managed this team, we've come up with this really fantastic idea for how to approach a solution, now we still have to design them. So that core design training, I think, still is critical and must kind of come first. I think the assumption now that I see in many more students across the board is that this is just a given. Sustainability is critically important, and we just have to figure out how to do that with every project all the time, everywhere. There's a much larger percentage of the student population that believes that, I think. The one thing that I think RISD does well is prepare students to think about their own careers as an entrepreneurial project. In my experience, the people who come to RISD want to be here. They are committed to figuring out what it means to be an artist and designer. And for many of them, they've known that that's what they want to be for quite some time, certainly longer than I ever knew. And are trying to figure out in an incredibly aggressive and powerful way of how they want to be in the world. Now that doesn't mean that they're not vocal about what kind of education they think they should get, and it doesn't mean that they're not tweeting each other in studio and tweeting other people and following, you know, the tweets of their faculties. But for the most part, they're really motivated. They're here for a reason, and that reason is existential.